according to this theory, selective, I have already mentioned that in case of selective theory, what you have to do, already pre-formed antibodies are being present or just in a store, different size and range of stitch clothes are present. So whenever you will be going or whenever the antigen is being coming, according to this competent cells have a restricted immunological range. So antigen stimulates the immunocompetent cell to selectively synthesize an antibody. सुनो, कौशल वाला बोर्ड लटका हुआ है, वंदना मैडम वालों उसको सुधार. Actively synthesize an antibody. That is, all the genetic information is present in the cell before encountering an antigen. So the cells were producing antibodies at low level, but antigenic stimulation result in rapid production of selective antibodies. So selective theory means already the antibodies are being produced by the cells. The cells are having the information that they have to produce the antibody. So whenever these cells are being encountered with an antigen, the production of the antigen will be, or antibodies will be stimulated. So the cells were producing antibodies at low concentration, but whenever there is antigenic stimulation or antigen response is there, or whenever the body or the cells has came in contact with any of the antigens, it results in rapid production of selective antibodies. While in case of instructive theory, an immunocompetent cell is competent to synthesize antibodies of any specificity, and antigen instruct the immunocompetent cell to synthesize complementary antibodies that the cells did not have any genetic information earlier to expose to an antigen. Okay, in the cells, in case of instructive theory, the cells are not having any genetic informations to produce the antibody according to the antigen, but whenever or the instructive theories, they are being two types, direct template hypothesis and second is the indirect template hypothesis. While the second type of theory is known as the selective theory. In selective theory, first is the earliest side chain theory, then natural selection theory or network theory or clone. This is the selection theory or clonal selection theory. Selection theory is also known as the clonal selection theory or network theory. So broadly, we can classify these theories into instructive theory and the selective theory. In case of instructive theory, it is the template theory, and in case of selective theory, rest of the theories are known as the selective theories. So in case of selective theory, the first theory which was produced by for the selective theory is given by the Paul Ehrlich in the year 19th. Okay, this theory was proposed by Paul Ehrlich, and this is the first selective theory which was proposed. So the cells are considered to have a specific surface receptor which can bind with the complementary side chains. Okay, in case of selective theory, one thing we are knowing that the genetic informations are already present in case of cells. So genetic information if present, it means the cells or the cell surface are having preformed receptors onto it. So cells are considered to have a specific surface receptor. Just like we know that the B cells are having different receptors on their surface. So which can bind with complementary side chains. So it will be binding with the present side chain or the complementary side chains. So these receptors are used for absorption of nutrients also. So when foreign substance or the antigen enters into the body, they combine with this complementary surface receptor and inactivate them. So the B cell contains different side chains antibody with different specificity. That's why they are saying that whenever our body is exposed to the antigen, limited amount of antibodies is being produced. It is not that when the switch is on, then unlimited antibodies is going to be produced. That's why it is being said that when the foreign substance or the antigen enters into the body, they combine with the the complementary surface receptor and inactivate them. So once the surface receptors are being inactivated, new antigens won't be able to adhere to it. So once the new antigen won't be able to adhere to it, there will be the production of limited number of antibodies. So B cell contains different side chains antibodies with different specificities. Okay. So as a compensatory mechanism, there is overproduction of same types of receptors and large number of them are liberated into the blood as circulatory antibody. So whenever any antigen is being introduced, the antibodies against that antigen is being produced. So that's why we are saying a compensatory mechanism, there is overproduction of the same type of receptors. Okay, so the same type of receptors are being overproduced so that large number of antibodies are liberated into the blood as circulatory antibody. But this theory was abandoned when Landsteiner demonstrated that the antibodies are also produced against various synthetic chemicals beside natural antigen. So although the Paul Ehrlich was showing that there is a selective theory, and many of the scientists or the group of the scientists were believing that this may be the best reason or this may be the reason why the antibodies are being produced. But you know that Landsteiner was the scientist who discovered about the blood group also. So he demonstrated that antibodies are also produced against various synthetic chemicals. So Ehrlich suggested that interaction between an infectious antigen and a cell-bound receptor will induce the cell to produce and release more receptors with the same specificity. So this is the gist from the Paul Ehrlich side chain theory or the selective theory, that the interaction between an antigen or an infectious agent and a cell-bound receptor would induce the cell to produce and release more receptors with the same specificity. So this is the how it is being depicted, that this is the cell, or we can say the B cells is having different receptors or the side chains. It is there. So the antigen are being coming, they are being adhering with the complementary antibodies. So this is the antigen with the antibody with the complementary, or this is the antigen with the antibodies, complementary antibodies. So once the antigen is being adhered with the receptor, there is production of lots of antigen receptors on the cell surface. Once there is lot of antigen receptors producing on the surface, there will be the much more antigen will be adhering to it and lot of antibodies will be produced. So this was the Paul Ehrlich theory or the selection theory. So now we will be discussing about the template hypothesis or the template hypothesis, or also known as the inductive theory. So Briand and Horowitz were the two scientists who there are two types of template hypothesis. This is the direct template hypothesis. It means antigen must enter the antibody forming cells, and there are configurational chain in the antibody producing cells. When the antigen will be introduced into the body, there will be the configurational chain in the antibody producing cells. Antibody producing cells will be the plasma cells. So the antigen here acting as a template or mold for which complementary structure of the antibodies are made by the cells. So antibody is synthesized in direct contact with the antigen, and this dissociates, leaving the antigen free to act as a template for further synthesis. Thus the mirror image of antigen is formed with its specificity. Okay, so directly whenever the antigen is being exposed, there will be the change in the configurational change in the antibody producing cells or the plasma cells, and so there will be the direct production of the antibodies, and these antibodies will be free and they will be acting as a template for further synthesis of the particularly antibodies. So thus mirror image of the antigen is formed with this specificity in this case of instructive theory. Direct hypothesis. Now what is the indirect template theory? In case of indirect, in the 1930, the direct theory was proposed, while in 1949, Burnett and Fenner proposed the indirect template theory. And according to this theory, antigen enters the antibody producing cell and induces a heritable change. Okay? Induces a heritable change inside the cells. So the antigen alters the genome of the cell so that new template is formed which persists in the progeny cells or indirect template. Okay, and this explained specificity and the secondary response, but it was abandoned when it was known that the antibodies of different specificities had different amino acid sequence in their combining sites. So this theory was also being refused, although Burnett and Fenner, they proposed the theory that whenever the antigen is being introduced, there will be the change in the heritable change in the cells, but the antigen will be producing the new template, okay, in the progeny cells, and this new template will be known as the indirect template. Now coming for the natural selection theory. One by one scientists, as the theory was disproved, lot of scientists were working and they were working on how the best possible reason how the antibodies are being produced. So the journey in the year 1955 postulated the natural selection theory. Okay. So what he told in the natural selection theory, according to him, a million of globulin or antibodies with all specificities are formed in embryonic life. Okay, in the embryonic life or in the embryo is having all type of immunoglobulins and in large quantity or millions in number. So whenever the antigen enters, it combines with the complementary antibody. It chooses the antibody according to the fit and the complex home to the antibody producing cells. It stimulates the cell to synthesize the same kind of antibody. So according to the antigen, antigen will be choosing the complementary antibody where it is maximum fit. So where it has already chosen the maximum fit antibodies, and now these antigen will be stimulating and synthesizing large number of antibodies according to that time. But then Journey failed to explain the immunological memory, how the immunological memory is being developed in this theory, because we used to say that the plasma cells is producing the antibodies along with the memory cells. So how the memory cells is being produced, they were unable to explain in the natural selection theory. Now coming to the next, that is the clonal selection theory. Burnett in the year 1957 proposed the clonal selection theory for antibody synthesis. And they also got the Nobel Prize in the year 1960 for their work. So the immune system recognizes antigen by the lymphocytes. You know that immune system will be recognizing antigens with the help of lymphocytes. They may be the B cells or the T cells. So the immunocompetent lymphocytes bear antibody receptors on the cell membrane with different specificity. Now in clonal selection theory, they are saying that the B cells or the T cells or any of the immunocompetent lymphocytes, they are having antibody receptors, preformed receptors on their membrane with different specificity. Okay, so an antigen stimulates an specific lymphocytes to proliferate and differentiate into the memory cells and the plasma cell by binding to their antibody receptors. Once the antigen is binding with the specific antibodies, there will be the production of the antibodies along with the memory cells. Okay, so this is the most, we can say, believed theory or proposed theory, or we can say this is the clonal selection theory, is the theory which is being followed today also, because it is saying about how the antibody is being produced and how the memory cells are being also produced. So in clonal selection theory, thus the antigen with different determinants stimulate different clones of lymphocyte which differentiate into the different memory cells and antibody producing plasma cells. It is produced that the every immunocompetent lymphocytes recognize only one antigen and can synthesize only one type of immunoglobulin. So this cell capable of reacting with different antigens were developed by a somatic mutation. So the cells capable of reacting with different antigens were developed by the somatic mutations in the cells. So the cells that had immunological activity with self-antigen, okay, were eliminated during embryonic development, and these clones are called forbidden clones. Okay, in the early of the life, when we were seeing about the we can say um, lymphoid organs. In the lymphoid organs, I have told that there is the positive selections of the T cells or the B cells also. In case of thymus, there is positive as well as the negative selection. So the cells which were self, okay, were eliminated out, in the early embryonic life. The cells that has immunological activity with self antigen were eliminated during the early embryonic development, and these clones are called forbidden clones. So their persistence would result in autoimmune disease. Okay, if these cells are present, which will be reacting to our self antigen, so there will be in our body, there will be the autoimmune disease. So the clonal selection theory is the more accepted theory. Clonal selection theory is the more accepted theory. It means whenever there will be the different antigens are there and antibodies, or we can say the B cells are having different receptors. If a B cell is having the receptor for a particular antigen, that antigen only will be binding. Okay, and there will be the production of antibodies, and there will be the clones of the antibody will be producing, or we can say if a specific antigen or the complementary antigen will be binding with the antibody, so this antibody will be produced in large amount. Okay, so the persistent would result. So if a self antigen is persisting in the body, there will be the autoimmune disease. So here you can see, we have already seen that the B cells are there. Maturation into mature antigenically sensitive B cells. In case of bone marrow also, there is stem cells is there. There will be the gene arrangement, and the cells will be there. Mature B cells are there, and on their surface antibody receptors are there. And when there will be the antigen is exposed, we can say, or antigen, there will be the clonal selection will be there. This is the antigen is there, there will be the antibodies present on the cells, or this is the receptors, and these antigen, or we can say the antibodies of the same specificity will be produced, or there will be the clonal production. So in that clonal production, there will be the production of antibodies as well as memory cells, antibodies and the memory cells. So the antigen dependent proliferation and differentiation into the plasma and the memory cells. This is the clonal selection theory. So after that, Journey also proposed the theory, and he explained the mechanism of regulation of antibody response. So the variable region of the immunoglobulin molecules differs in their amino acid sequence. So what Journey told that the variable region, now you know that in the structure of the immunoglobulin, there is the heavy chain is there, light chain is there. Heavy chain will be different according to the immunoglobulin, or immunoglobulin will be different according to their heavy chain. And now in the heavy chain, along with the heavy chain, there are the light chain are also present. So these light chains are of two types. They are kappa and lambda type of light chains. Now, where is the hypervariable region? Hypervariable region is present in the both variable and the constant region particularly, and the distinct amino acid sequence at their antigen binding site with the adjacent path of the variable region are called idiotypes. So the variable region of immunoglobulin molecules differed in their amino acid sequence. Okay, so the variable region is it is present in the light chain and the heavy chain. So variable region is there, and the amino acid sequence of these variable regions are different. So the different amino acid sequence at their antigen binding sites and the adjacent path of variable region are all called idiotypes. So the idiotypes can act as an antigen and produce anti-idiotype antibodies. So they in turn produce antibody, thus forming an idiotype network and regulate antibody production. So once the variation is there, accordingly the antibodies will be produced. And in the year 1984, Journey was also being given Nobel Prize for proposing the network theory. Okay, so now little bit discussing about the why there is genetic basis of antibody diversity. Okay, so these were the theories which we have discussed, and in that theory, clonal selection theory was the most important one. So on the basis of genetic antibody diversity, an individual has the capacity to produce 10 to the power 8 different antibody molecules. Such vast diversity required large number of genes. Okay, if any individual is there, he can produce 10 to the power 8 different antibody molecules. You can imagine. So such vast diversity require large number of genes. So the genetic information for the synthesis of the immunoglobulin molecule is not present in the continuous array of codon. It is present in the discontinuous stretches. So the non-express intervening sequence, you know, in a particularly chromosomes, there are the sequence which will be active as well as inactive. So there are introns as well as the exons. So the non-express intervening sequence or introns are present between the peptide coding sequence or exons within chromosomal DNA. So if it is a chromosomal DNA structure is there, we are discussing if an antibody is Y-shaped, it is having the constant region and the variable region, how the diversity is being developed in these antibodies. So these antibodies, the diversity is being developed at the gene level or the chromosome level. So now we are discussing here that large number of genes will be required. So if it is a DNA, it is the chromosome of the DNA. So if it is a region of the exons, in between the exons there are introns. Okay, exons, introns, exon, introns. So the non-expressed intervening sequences, they are known as the introns, are present between the peptide coding sequence or exons within the chromosomal DNA. So rearrangement of these sequence, exons and introns, take place during B cell differentiation, and antibodies with various specificities are being produced. So Susuma Tonogawa of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that is the MIT, very known, we can say world-known institute. He was working in the MIT and he won the Nobel Prize in the year 1987 for his contribution towards understanding the gene arrangement of antibody production. So immunoglobulin molecules is made up of variable domain, constant domain and J joining segments. Now we are knowing that in an immunoglobulin structure, we are having light chain and the heavy chain. Okay, both in the light chain and in the heavy chain particularly, we are having variable region and the constant region. And these variable region and the constant region, we have seen they are being joined by the J chain, particularly in case of IgM and IgA, we have seen the J chain, while it was joining with the help of the disulfide bond in case of other immunoglobulins. So the V region of L chain means the light chain. Okay, V region of the L chain, light chain, is encoded by V and J gene segment. Okay, the V region means variable region of the light chain is encoded by V and J gene, and the V region of the heavy chain is encoded by the variable V, D and J gene. Okay, so the light, if it is a light chain, we can say heavy chain or light chain. So V region of the light chain. Light chain is having also the variable region and the constant region. So the variable region is encoded by the gene V and J, while the constant region is encoded by the variable region of the heavy chain. Okay, variable region of the heavy chain is encoded by the V, D and J gene. 3 genes are present in case of the variable region of heavy chain, while in case of variable region of light chain, V and J, 2 genes are there. While in case of heavy chain, it is V, D and J. D is for diversity. So in any particular species, the number of C segments is limited and there are only one gene for each constant region, which are transition to generation in the germline. So the sequence in the V domains are variable and body produces most large number of variable light and very heavy to produce fight antibodies. So what it means to say that the diversity is present in the variable region. All it may be the light chain or the heavy chain variable region, while in case of constant there is limited number of genes. So in any particular species, the number of C segments or the constant segment is limited and there are only one gene or a few genes for each constant region, which are transmitted from generation to generation in the germline. So the sequence in the V domain are variable and body must produce large number of variable light and variable heavy to produce large diversified antibodies. So the important theories for the origin of large number of these sequences are germline theory and somatic mutations theory. So what is the germline theory? According to this theory, germ cells carry structural genes for all the variable or the genes. Okay, and these genes would have arisen through gene duplication, mutation, or the selection. How they have been arrived? It may be due to the mutation, or it may have arrived due to the duplication or due to the selection. So, according to this theory, germ cells carry germ cells having the structural gene or for all the light chain and the heavy chain variable region. So these genes would have arisen through gene duplication, and how their structural diversity has been arisen due to duplication, mutation and selection. While the somatic mutation theory, germ cell contains limited number of genes which become highly diversified through mutation in somatic cells during embryonic development, resulting in differentiated clones of immunocompetent cells and different genes. So the number of genes involved are very few. So germline V genes code for V domain, or the V means variable. Germline variable genes code for the V domains that are specific for certain self-antibodies. Example, histocompatibility antigen on cell surface and suppress the cells to produce antibodies against the self-antigen. So the somatic mutation usually results in greater affinity of the antibodies for their antigen. So the generation of DNA take place during B cell differentiation. The rearrangement of the DNA take place during B cell differentiation that make the diversity of antibody molecule produced. So once there is in the germline, there is V and J is for the light chain, V, D and J is for the heavy chain. So the rearrangement also used to take place during B cell differentiation, and that makes the diversity of antibody molecules produced during them. Another this is the what do you mean by the isotype switching? Isotype switching means to say if any of the cells is producing any primary response, it is producing the immunoglobulin IgM, and in the later response the same cells will be starting producing the IgG or the IgA. So how the same cells will be producing the different type of antibodies? So in case of re-exposure to some antigens, the IgM secreting cells will produce different antibodies like IgG or IgA with same specification, that is against the same antigen. So the switch mechanism involves which enables the B cell lymphocyte to utilize same variable genetic segments to produce one type of antibodies and again another type. All are directed against the same antigen. The antigen is same, but once it is a primary response, it will be producing IgM. When it is secondary response, it will be producing IgG. When it is in the same antigen is in the secretion, the IgA will be produced. So switch mechanism involves which enables the B lymphocytes to utilize same variable genetic segments to produce one type of antibody and again another type. All are directed against the same antigen. Okay. So in a resulting B lymphocytes, one DNA segment code for all heavy chains except C delta and pauses a switch sequence. This S sequence enable only any constant segment to combine with the VDJ. So in a resting B lymphocyte, okay, resting B lymphocyte means the B lymphocyte which has not been activated. One DNA segment code for all heavy chain. Okay, except C delta. So the heavy chain zone is there or the constant domain is there. Okay, the constant domain will be secreted. So in a resulting one DNA segment code for all heavy chain except C delta and pauses a switch sequence. Switch sequence or in the heavy chain S sequence is also present. So this S sequence enable any constant segment to combine with the V, D and J. Okay, this S sequence enable any constant segment to combine with the in the heavy chain variable domain D and J. So for example, in first exposure to antigen, the B lymphocyte secretes IgM due to VH, DH, JH and C mu. IgM is the constant. This is the structure in case of variable chain. While in constant chain, if it is IgM, the constant chain will be the C mu. Okay. So in subsequent exposure, when a switchover is as sequence and there is secretion of IgG because V, H, DH and JH and the constant change will be the Ig of the immunoglobulin gamma. So which translate into protein of IgG. So this switch causes irreversible deformation of DNA. That is the and while rearrangement, the same variable segment is utilized with other constant segment to secrete a specific class of antibodies. It means to say the in the germline there are genes for the variable region and the constant region. The constant region genes are limited or it is present, so they are just like the same with each other. While the differentiation is major in the V, D and J, that is the variable region. So initially, the only the constant region gene will be changed. So there will be the change in the type of immunoglobulin. If it is a mu type, so it will be C mu or constant mu, then it will be IgM. It will be IgG. If it is an alpha, then it will be IgA. If it is will be epsilon, it will be IgE. And but in case of delta, it is saying that the delta is only different because delta is in the immature B lymphocyte. So this switch causes irreversible deformation of DNA. So now the cells which has produced the or switching over has taken place and it is producing IgG. Now this cell or that type of B cells won't be able to produce the IgM again because this process is causing irreversible deformation of the DNA and while rearrangement. So the same variable segment is utilized with other constant segment to secrete a specific class of antibodies. So this happened as there is deletion of mu and delta segments in original and changeover of the V, D, J and C mu. Okay. So there will, if it was IgM, in IgM it was mu was there, so mu will be deleted and the delta from the heavy chain will be deleted. So now it will be changed over to the V, J, D and J and C mu. So IgG will be secreted and this already deleted, so the cells won't be able to produce irreversible change or it won't be able to produce IgM. So this is the structure which we were seeing. Now here you can see the structure. Okay, I was saying heavy chain. So blue is the light chain. Okay. Now, in case of heavy chain or the light chain, I was saying in heavy chain there is the variable region. The heavy chain, it is written H, and the variable region. It is the N terminus region, NH3 terminus region is the variable region. So it is VH. While I was saying that there is the constant region, this is the CH1, CH2, CH3. So this is the constant region. So the constant region, they are the same, while the variable region, they are different. So the switching over in the class of the immunoglobulin will be depending on the variable region, and the constant region will be going on changing. So the heavy chain can be the alpha, delta or epsilon. While chain can be kappa type or the. So this in the variable region, this is known as the antigen variable region, and here the antigen. So this is the hidden region. We have already structured disulfide bond is there for the bonding of the heavy chain with the light chain, or the binding of the two units of an antibody. So this is the structure we have already seen. I want to go into the structure of the IgD. In case of IgD, this is the structure. In case of IgD, this is the structure of the IgD, and particularly this is the structure of IgM, where we are discussing about the J chain. J chain is for the joining, and it is pentameric in nature. Again, the IgA we have already seen. IgA is dimeric, and again joining with the J chain, and the basic structure of the immunoglobulin particularly is IgE. Okay, it is the IgE. So here we are seeing that the here C4 is there, constant up to the C4 is there. So this is about the theories of antibody productions along with the diversity of immunoglobulins. Okay, how the diversity in immunoglobulins used to take place. So in the next